The Burrage Sports Show.
Yo, what's up, everybody? We are back, the Burrage Sports Show. I am one of your hosts, the dad, Mike B, and I'm here with my son,
Mike Burr.
And let me tell you guys, the name of this podcast is the Burrage Sports Show because my name is Mike Burrage. My son's name is Mike Burrage because obviously he's named after me. So that's why I go by Mike B, and that's why he goes by Mike Burr, because we have the exact same name. Yep. And Mike was already taken. If you know that old school ESPN show, that was already taken. We didn't want to bite their lyrics, so we just went with the Burrage Sports Show featuring Mike B, Mike Burr, with our super producer, April T. And by the way, April T is my daughter. So it's a total family affair, totally African-American owned sports podcast for all of the people. We love all of the people from any walk of life, from all over the world. This is the podcast for you. Let's jump right into it, guys. Antonio Brown, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Mike Burr. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's a good signing. You know, you saw the Chiefs level up and they got Le'Veon Bell. You know, the rich getting richer. You got some tough teams in the league and around the league and even in their own division. So I think that it's a good signing. Obviously, you know, when Antonio Brown's focus has never been a question of his work ethic, never been a question of his talent. It's more of the off the field stuff, the in the locker room stuff. But on the field, he was the best receiver in the league the last time we saw him for a full season. And then you add him to Mike Evans, who you can make an argument is the best receiver in the league. You got Godwin, you got Gronk. I mean, who are you going to guard? You know, it's no team that can match up with all of those guys if they're on the field at the same time. So I think it makes him almost unstoppable when you got the GOAT commanding the offense.
So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, normally they've been known for defense the last few years, and the offense did step it up the last couple of years. But Jameis Winston, who was their quarterback, he was a top pick. He could have a really great game, but then he could kill you with the turnovers.
Yeah.
So now you're saying with Antonio Brown, they're going to be a straight up offensive juggernaut.
That's what it's looking like. You know, because they were already starting to get things clicking. You know, Brady had the 5-touchdown game. He just threw 4 touchdowns this week. So they were already starting to click and starting to get healthy. And now you add Antonio Brown, and, you know, he's had obviously a season and a half to rest. So to me, this makes them the second best team in the league right behind the Chiefs. I think they're number 2 right now.
Wow. But let me ask you this. How long will it last, though? Antonio Brown is mega talented. To kind of put it in perspective, after 131 games, he's played a total of 131 games in his career. Jerry Rice, I'll say after 140 games. I looked up some stats. Now, this is what Antonio Brown has done in 10 seasons. It took Jerry Rice to get to 140 games in 9 seasons. So, you got to give the GOAT Jerry Rice a little more credit because he did it in one less season. But let me show you how close their numbers were. Antonio Brown has 11,213 yards after 131 games. After 140 games, Jerry Rice had 11,776 yards.
Wow.
So that just shows you the type of production that Brown has. You know, Jerry Rice had 118 TDs, and Antonio Brown had a big number too, 75 touchdowns. So we're talking about a guy, of course he didn't have Jerry Rice numbers, but GOAT-like numbers his first 10 seasons in the NFL.
Yeah.
So he's a phenomenal talent. But can he stay on the field? Will he get into the social media and the drama in the locker room and drama off the field and self-destruct? Because he's done that the last couple of opportunities he had. He did it in Pittsburgh. He did it in New England. Do you think he's going to survive the entire season?
Yeah, that's the big question, right? That's why, you know, he's been, you know, out the league and in and out the league for the last couple seasons. I think with Tom Brady there, and I think he knows this is his last chance. I think he's going to last the whole season. I think he knows how much money he's missed out on.
Yeah.
Right? He's 32, so in the NFL, especially as a skill position player, he only has a chance to get one more decent sized contract.
Okay.
Before, so, and he already missed out. We saw Julio Jones get paid. We saw Hopkins and all these other guys get big money. He missed out on that boat already with the off the field issues. He could have signed an $80 million, $100 million contract. But if he performs well with the Bucs, especially if they go make a playoff run or even win a Super Bowl, he still has opportunity to get 30, 50 mil in a contract if a team believes in him. So I think if for nothing else, for his own selfish reasons, he's going to perform and just shut up and play this season and stay out of trouble. And I think having Tom Brady there, they seem to have a good relationship. I think he'll protect him as much as he can. But if for nothing else, I think just to get that last big contract, he'll just play well. And I think he'll last the whole year.
Okay, so you're saying cash rules everything around us, huh?
Yeah.
Doing it for the bread. Well, I hope so, because he's a phenomenal talent, man, and I hate to see that squandered. And he's an exciting player.
Yeah.
Especially when he was with the Steelers. Man, he was an exciting player. So, good luck to him, man. I hope he can survive. And his contract is very incentive laden. He signed a max $2.5 million contract with the bulk of it. $750,000 of it will pay out if he makes it to the Super Bowl. So a big portion of it is tied to the Super Bowl and other incentives like how many receptions he have, how many yards he have, how many TDs. All of that's like at $250,000 a piece. So the majority of that contract is kind of bonus incentive laden with like $1 million of it just kind of based on the football and other things like that. So
and a big question too is how is he gonna react? Because he's used to being the first option.
Yeah.
Now you got Mike Evans, you got Godwin, you got Gronk, you got all these other guys. And coming in, you got to learn the offense. So he's going to be the fourth or fifth option starting out. So how is that going to affect him as well?
That's a good point. And what is he going to do when he gets mad? See, everybody can be friends when you are doing kumbaya. Everybody loving and hugging on each other. Everybody's winning. What if they lose 2 games in a row? What if he's open quite a bit in those games, but Brady isn't hitting them yet? Or somebody makes him mad in the locker room. So that's when we're going to see the test, when things aren't going his way or he sees things from a different vantage point. Is he mature enough now not to overreact, to be a good team player, deal with it, and keep moving forward? Talent-wise, no question.
Right.
We compared his numbers to Jerry Rice. Again, they're not like the GOAT, but they were GOAT-like. But it's just a matter of can he stay on the field and can he do the right things off the field, especially now because he's going to get some fame and some status, because that was a big part of it. He wanted to do social media and tweet and, put himself all on the gram and all of that. How he's going to react if the attention start coming back, both positive and negative, will he self-destruct? And I hope he doesn't, man. I'm really rooting for the guy.
Me too.
Yeah, because he's a fun guy. Really fun guy to watch. Going into more football, I want to talk about the Steelers. We know early in the season, 5-0, but they played barbecue chicken, Cupcake City. So they got their test. They played the Titans, an undefeated team, top team. They won. So the question is, are the Steelers for real? Did that validate them as a true contender to win that Super Bowl with that big victory over the Titans this week?
Yeah. I know we ranked the 3 undefeated teams last week, and I had the Steelers number 3.
Right.
And I was wrong. After seeing them on Sunday, obviously you got a Hall of Fame quarterback. Steelers always got a good defense. They fly around the field. And they got a lot of playmakers on offense. Juju and Connor, Ebron, Johnson and Claypool and McDonald and all those guys. So they got a squad. But one thing I did see in that Titans game, they had them down. They had them blown out. Big Ben threw 3 picks and let them back in the game.
Surely did.
So this was the first actually good team they played, and they had them down early and almost let them come back. And that's a scary sign. So I do think they are for real. I think obviously when you have a Hall of Fame Super Bowl winning quarterback, you got a defense. You got a chance. and they are one of the top teams in the league. But it is some concerns here. It's still some concerns.
Yeah, they don't. And to me, they were my number one. They're 6-0. They haven't lost a game. KC's dropped a game. They dropped a game to the Raiders in Week 6. We know that. But KC is the team everybody's still nervous about.
Right.
Maybe the Ravens, which is a cool thing is coming up too. This is Steelers-Ravens week, which is always a fantastic game. But the Steelers, I think, do have a shot because they have a great defense. They're like third in terms of scoring offenses at like 30 a game. Big Ben has been there, done that.
Right.
He's a Super Bowl, 2-3-time Super Bowl champ? How many Super Bowls has he won?
2?
Yeah. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champ. So Big Ben knows what it takes to get the job done. So that can help you in a big game or the biggest game. That experience can come through for you. So I think they are for real. I don't think they're flawless. I still don't know if they're better than the Kansas City Chiefs or coming into the playoffs. So if I would pick them over the Chiefs, but I think they have as good a shot as anybody.
Yeah, I think so too. Because when you have a 2-time Super Bowl winning quarterback, and he knows how to play in big moments. They got a strong defense, so they're gonna be tough to beat. The Steelers are always tough to beat, especially they're undefeated right now. So if they get home field, one of the toughest places to play as well. So they're gonna be in the conversation.
That's if the fans are back though.
Yeah, right. That's a big question mark as well.
So it's going to be interesting to see. Let's just keep it on football, man. I want to segue into kind of a tale of another cloth, the rancid, and I mean this literally. And I'm not trying to be a hater, but if you love football, you got to agree. Even they would agree. The NFC East.
Womp womp.
No one in the division has a winning record. The Eagles are at the top of the division. They're 2-4-1. Washington is in second place. This is after Week 7. They're 2-5. The Cowboys are in third place. They're 2-5.
Man.
And the Giants are in last. They're 1-6. How bad is that division right now?
Yeah, it's not looking pretty. None of these teams really give you a lot of confidence. A lot of these teams are having bad luck, like with the Giants. Saquon got hurt early in the season,
which is their only true big superstar talent.
Yeah, and that was their only chance in the beginning, and then they weren't looking good with Saquon. So without him, they're 1-6. The Cowboys, they don't have Dak. They don't have Andy Dalton now. The defense, they're on pace to be one of the worst defenses of all time. And their offensive line is hurt, which has been their best part of their team for years. Then the Redskins the Washington football team. I like their defense, actually. Their defense is pretty good. Now, they haven't played any of the high impact offenses yet, but they got some talent on defense. Offensively, they're trying to figure stuff out. I like Scary Terry, but he's a receiver. He can only do so much. And the Eagles, they remind me of their counterpart in the NBA, right? They're a team with a ton of talent. They got big names. They got star players. They obviously have had success. They won a Super Bowl a couple years ago, but that was with Nick Foles, a different quarterback. But it's just, I don't know. It's just something ain't clicking with the Eagles because they should be a lot better than their record. They're the only team that I'm kind of disappointed. Like the other teams, I kind of expected this. But the Eagles are kind of like, I just don't know if they can click at some point in the season. I think they still have a chance.
Yeah, they're not that far removed from a Super Bowl, but they're not that team anymore, obviously. But the only team with a winning record, well, I don't know. Let me correct myself. Not a winning record in the division, but a team that's doing okay in the division is Washington. But they're 0-3 on the road. So that doesn't. They're 2-2 at home, 0-3 on the road. They got the only winning record in the division, but that's not saying a lot. The Cowboys are just being the Cowboys. They've been bad for a long time.
Yeah,
with a few little smatterings of playoff appearances, but we've been in denial about the Cowboys. Every year they're ranked a little higher than they should be. They're considered to be better than what they really are. and that franchise has just been imploding. And I really wish Dak would have got his money.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if he's going to see that type of payday again. I really don't. I think he blew his window. And I hate to say that because I like Dak. I think he has a lot of potential. But he better come back smoking from that injury, or he really his signing value, I think, is going to fall exponentially. But he took a risk. He bet on himself. He didn't want to sign the bigger deal. He wanted to go, go 1 year at a time and bet on himself. And the worst case scenario happened: injury on a bad team, and that's a way you don't get paid.
Yeah. I really like we talked about this in the offseason. I really wanted, or I thought Dak was going to sit out if he didn't get a contract. I thought that was the best decision, especially with all the uncertainty, with Andy Dalton being the backup. And, I thought it would be a good opportunity to say, hey, I'm not paying until you play me. Because this is why you want those long-term contracts for the players. That's why they want these long-term contracts, because it's a rough game. You can get hurt on any given play. And this is why the owners don't want to give long-term contracts, because you can get hurt on any given play.
True.
So it's just a classic example. But yeah, I hope that gets well soon. I think he'll bounce back with all the technology, and he's a young, strong guy. So he'll be back next season, I believe. And it probably won't be for the Cowboys, because I think the way they're looking right now, they're not gonna win too many more games. So I think they're going to draft a quarterback and just move on.
Probably so. And that's why, Dak is a really good player, but he wasn't that guy. And that's why I wanted him to sign, because it's not like he was taking them far through the playoffs, potential Super Bowl, and he was setting himself up for this huge payday based on he was just balling out, stellar performance. He was very solid. He had the most passing yards, so he had some big numbers. But I kind of figured that he wasn't going to be, Patrick Mahomes type.
Right.
And I knew Dallas wasn't going to win. So that's why I was hoping he took that money while he could, because something like what happened this season could happen. And again, I don't know if he's going to see that bread again. But hey, he's still rich. I mean, it's all relative. Signing the franchise tag, he still made $31 million along with endorsements. So he technically still never has to work again. But I would much rather have 140 than 31,
Yeah, and yeah, like you said, his career is far from over. Because, we seen Teddy Bridgewater, he struggled with injuries, and now he's starting for the Panthers. So, I think it's probably his last game in Dallas, but I do think he'll rehab, come back, and some team will still want him, because he's better than a lot of quarterbacks that are starting right now. So he could still find a job. But back to this NFC East, if one of these teams makes the playoffs, right, they're probably going to have, maybe they get to 500, but they probably won't even get to 500. Can they actually win a game in the playoffs? Which one of these teams?
To be honest, I don't see any one of those teams winning a game. I really believe that. I just don't think it'll happen. I don't have any faith in any of those teams in the big game. I don't. I just don't see it. At least not right now. Maybe as the season progresses, somebody gets hot. But other teams in the NFC, like the Seahawks, the Cardinals, the Packers, maybe if the Bears get in, one of them could upset the Bears, because the Bears have been so inconsistent offensively. But teams like Seattle, the Cardinals, the Rams, the Packers, even the Bucks over in the NFC South, the Saints, how this thing might play out. I don't think they could be any of those teams. I hate to say it, and I'm a Bear fan. If we get in, we might be the most vulnerable team against one of those NFC's teams, because the inconsistency of our offense. The other teams I've watched in the NFC, the top teams, I don't think they would have a chance.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Like I said, I think the Eagles are the best team. But they've been having injuries, and it's something off in that locker room or something. But yeah, I don't see them being able to beat any of the top teams that are going to be battling for the playoffs.
Yeah, I just don't see it. I think they're having a really rough go of it. And again, that's gonna bring up if everybody in this division stays sub 500, The question is going to be to the commissioner, should they do a reseeding? Because somebody's going to get the automatic bid to the playoffs because they won the division, and that's going to start that debate again. Should they do a reseeding and the best 8 teams go in instead of the division winners get an automatic bid? That's going to come up again.
Yeah, I would. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't mind it. If you can't be 500, you shouldn't be in the playoffs.
Yeah,
that makes sense to me. I understand the divisions are important in football, but I wouldn't want to see a good team that just happens to be in a good division miss the playoffs, and they're like, we won 10, 11, 12 games, and we can't go to the playoffs. And this team that won 7 games is in there. So I would.
That would suck, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would really hurt, and it would hurt the fans too because we want to see good playoff football.
Yeah, good point. Let me ask you this: what team? And pick one in the AFC. Pick one in the NFC. Right now, we're coming into week 8.
Okay,
we're not doing our Super Bowl predictions yet. We're gonna have a whole Super Bowl show. You know how we do in the NFL. You have to have your Super Bowl preview show. Have some fun with that. So we're not gonna go there. But what team that nobody's really talking about that you think could be a dark horse coming out of the AFC, and one team you think could be a dark horse coming out of the NFC that could possibly make a run to the Super Bowl? Not to say they're going to win it, but could make a run for the Super Bowl.
If I'm going with the NFC, I got to pick the Cardinals. I like this team early on, and I was just kind of watching them. And then that win over the Seahawks, that was a big-time win. They were down in that game. They fought, clawed back, won in overtime. They showed a lot of heart, a lot of unity, and Kyler Murray is a dog.
Yes.
I thought it would take him a couple more years to develop. I really liked him coming out of college, but he's ready now. He's a dog. He can make all the throws. In the open field, he's one of the hardest guys to tackle. He's not Lamar Jackson. Obviously, Lamar Jackson is like the gold standard. But he's pretty close because he's a bit different because he's a little guy. But because of that, his feet and like his cuts are so quick, because he takes so many steps, he can change direction so fast. So he's really hard to bring down. He's a great leader, and they kind of remind me of to cross over to the NBA. They kind of remind me of the Heat. They're kind of like Larry Fitzgerald is kind of like a Jimmy Butler. He's a veteran guy, a lot of respect around the league.
True.
And they got all these young dogs, DeAndre Hopkins, and their defense is good too. Buda Baker, Patrick Peterson, and all those guys. Chandler Jones. They got a squad on both ends of the ball. They play hard. They play together, and I think they got a real shot. They could really send somebody packing in the playoffs.
Okay, I think that's a great pick, man. I really like Murray, man. He's really good. I got to go with the 49ers, believe it or not. They're 4-3, but they haven't lost on the road. They just been kind of bad at home. They're 1-3 at home. But I think the 49ers, their defense is strong enough.
Yeah.
They have some offensive firepower. They just, to me, they started a little slow. But I still think they're a good enough team that if they can get it going, if the 49ers could get it going, I think they could be some trouble. And they were in the Super Bowl last year. I think they can make another run back to the Super Bowl. So they're not the favorite this year. Matter of fact, they're in last place in their division because just as
right.
The NFC East is a terrible division, to me they have the strongest division in football. Seattle at the top at 5-1, Cardinals at 5-2, Rams at 5-2, and then the 49ers at 4-3. I think that's the best from top to bottom division in football. But I think if the 49ers can continue to play well and if they can get in, I think they have as good a chance to get back to the Super Bowl and be a dark horse as anybody.
Yeah, that's a great pick. And it's kind of the opposite division of the NFC East. And it is the opposite. The NFC West is completely – they got all the very good teams from top to bottom. The AFC – It's a lot of teams that are kind of sneaky, kind of good. If I had to pick one today, I think I would go with the Raiders.
Oh wow! Okay.
First year in Vegas, and they're sneaky good. You know, they've been playing kind of inconsistent, but they beat the Chiefs.
They beat Kansas City.
And pretty convincingly, too. And they beat the Saints pretty convincingly.
True.
Like, it wasn't a real fluky win. Like, they kind of walked them down from wire to wire. So, but they'll give up some games, too. They just got blown out by the Bucs. So, it's like they're kind of inconsistent, but I do feel like they're kind of like a any given Sunday kind of team where they can beat anybody, but they can also lose to anybody. And that kind of unpredictability can, you know, if you get hot, you can make a run. So I like the Raiders, and you know they're in Vegas, so you know they got the mob and the refs on their side.
Yeah, I like that team. I like the Raiders. Like you say, they've proven they could beat anybody. When you could beat the Chiefs, you can beat anybody, but they proved they could kind of lose to anybody too. You're right. I got to go with the Colts, man.
Yeah.
The Indianapolis Colts. I know that might be a little weird. They're not flashy, but Phillip Rivers is actually playing some good football quietly. He's kind of resurrected his career. Not to say his career was gone, but he's a good fit for that team. And their defense, I think, is a little bit better than even their stats. They have a really good defense. They crowd the football. Those boys can hit. They have some their defensive backfield is awesome with their DBs and safeties. And I could see them making a run and kind of ride the arm of Phillip Rivers and ride that defense, man. And they know how to win in that dome, you know. So if they can get something at home or get something in maybe better weather, because Phillip Rivers was a West Coast guy, they might be dangerous. So I like the Colts, man. And watching them against my Bears, I saw a lot in terms of their speed, them getting to the football, which might not be saying a lot because the Bears, again, their offense has been so inconsistent. But just the speed, the way they crowd around the football, when I watch their highlights every week, win or lose, they have a lot of guys in white jerseys with that horseshoe helmet or blue jerseys with that horseshoe helmet crowding the football. They get to the football. And I think they can be a dangerous team, maybe make a run.
Yeah, defense wins championships, and like you said, they have a really good defense. Like even though they're one of the top defenses, they're not getting enough credit. They got a lot of vets, a lot of guys. They play aggressive, they play hard, they hit hard, and they're gonna make you think on the offensive end. So, and having a leader like Phillip Rivers, they can make a run for it. I could see that.
I could see that, man. The NFL has been rocking and rolling, man. So far, I'm enjoying this season, man. It's just been exciting. And then with a lot of movement now, you know, Antonio Brown coming back, Le'Veon Bell getting cut and finding a new team. It's been a really good, all these quarterbacks that were kind of juggled around. It's been really interesting, man.
Yes, it's been a fun season. It's been a lot of surprises, a lot of surprise teams, and I like the movement. I like the transactions that have been taking place. But we gotta talk about the Bears.
Okay.
We gotta talk about the Monday Night Football game. This was like our test, right? Because we were 5-1, but it was a shaky 5-1. You know,
True.
like you said this week, like we're 5-1, but we could be 1-5.
True.
And that was kind of the feeling in Chicago. Like we're our record is good, but we're not really playing good, especially on offense. We're one of the worst offenses in the league.
True.
So what's going on with the Bears? What do you think we got to do?
Well, one thing, receivers are open, and they're not getting the football. Then sometimes when they get the football, they don't hold on to the football. So, and we have no running game.
Zero.
So offensively, it's just been a nightmare. Our defense has been playing very well. Not totally shut down, but they've been trying. But they're not getting a lot of help. Mm-hmm. But to me, it's just offensively, it's been really bad. But again, we're what, 5-2?
Yeah.
So the offense, put it like this: when the offense looks bad, it looks really bad. But we've found ways to win, but I don't know if we're going to be able to continue to do that, especially against good teams. You want to beat people, you can't keep, because we've had 4 or 5 comebacks already.
Yeah.
You can't have the find ways to win and make a long run through the playoffs. You have to beat teams, And we haven't showed that we could just straight up mop teams yet. We find ways to win. The defense has been really bailing us out, helping us. Offense, we've had some timely plays, which is good. Again, we're 5-2, so I'm not hating, but we haven't showed that we could just beat guys. And this stretch of games, because again, we have some tough teams coming up, is really going to be the telltale to see where we really are, you know?
Yeah. And my question is Matt Nagy in the hot seat? Because, you know, everybody was blaming Mitch. It's Mitch's fault. He's not the right quarterback for the system. He's too young and this and that. But to be honest, we've seen Nick Foles for this is 3 or 4 weeks now.
Yeah.
The offense looks exactly the same.
It does.
I can't tell if it's number 9 or if it's number 10 out there. It missing guys, like you said, receivers are open, don't get the ball. Sometimes they get the ball and they drop it. Not running the ball on 4th and 1, 3rd and 1. We want to pitch it to Cordell Patterson or run a sweep or something. Not a QB sneak or just run it up the middle. The running game is non-existent. The blocking is bad. The offense looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
So at some point you have to say, hey, who is it? The coach? Is it the play calling? He's been under a lot of scrutiny. And when your moniker, when you're standing on, hey, I'm an offensive coach, I come from Andy Reid, and you had a 29th ranked offense in the league, you know, what's going on?
Well, he's not on the hot seat now because he's 5-2.
Yeah.
Like, again, it feels like it's smoke and mirrors, but in the NFL, 5-2 is 5-2.
Yeah.
So there's hope because their record still is one of the top records in the NFL. We still have an opportunity to win the division. So as a Bear fan, we got to be happy, but it's not a comfortable happy. You know what I'm saying? We're not comfortable though. So, you know, we're just going to have to see how this thing play out. We got the Saints coming up. We got the Titans coming up. We got the Vikings coming up. We got the Packers coming up.
Yeah.
We got the Lions coming up. So it's going to be a nice little stretch of talent we're going up against, and that's going to be the telltale sign whether we're pretenders or contenders.
Yeah, these next couple games are going to be the season here. Like, it's going to show us who we really are. The Rams were the first elite team we played, and
it didn't
look good at all from beginning to end. But the defense, like, that's the thing. Our defense is so good. The Rams only had 17 points for most of that game.
Right.
And against that offense, that's all you can really ask.
With no help from from our offense. So.
And they were just punting, 3 and out.
Yeah.
Throwing picks. You know, on the one good drive they had, threw a pick in the end zone. So, and then Ted Ginn, we're really missing Tariq Cohen too, because Ted Ginn, you gotta try something, man. Like, he just let the punts bounce, you know, and they had the best punter in the league by far.
Yeah, one of the best in history.
Yeah, he's just pinning them. Like, it was times where it was no guys within 5-10 yards of him. You gotta at least catch it and give yourself a chance to make a big play, you know, especially in a game like that. So maybe try somebody else back there, or just, I don't know if that was the coach telling him not to catch it or if that was the decision he's making on the field. But you gotta, special teams has to try to make some more big plays, you know, because right now this offense is struggling.
Yeah, the offense is struggling and defenses. But again, we're 5-2. So we'll see, guys. Like I say, this stretch, the next 5 or 6 weeks, we'll know if we're pretenders or contenders. But hey, we're Bear fans. We hope we are contenders. Our fingers, our toes are crossed, our eyes are crossed, everything is crossed because we want to be a playoff team. You know, we missed the playoffs. The playoffs is fun, and it would be nice if we could make the playoffs this year, especially if we win the division and beat the Packers. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Now we're gonna go to our super producer, April T, in the building. April, hit us with your hot takes. What you got today?
So Odell Beckham is out for the remainder of the season. He had an ACL tear in last week's game.
That's that Cleveland Brown bad luck coming back.
Yeah, you hate to see it.
Yeah, they're the Clippers of football, man. What can go wrong will go wrong.
Andy Dalton out for the Dallas Cowboys. So now they're on their third string for the season.
Say that again?
They're on the third string for the season.
Who, the Dallas third string quarterback?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, that's I mean, obviously they lost Dak, and now you lose Dalton. And just like you said with the Browns, what can go wrong is going wrong for this team. And but in that division, they still got a chance, even with the third string.
Yeah.
And the World Series playing tonight, LA Dodgers versus Tampa Bay. The LA Dodgers have been in the World Series 3 out of the past 4 years. Is this their year? They're currently up 3-2.
Yeah. And as of the podcast right now, Tampa Bay is winning 1-0 in Game 6. They're trying to push it to Game 7. Two great, sports baseball towns. It's great baseball always in Florida. So Tampa Bay, they're having a great year. Then you look at the Dodgers, the great tradition. They will always be known for Jackie Robinson, the Brooklyn Dodgers, a great historic franchise. I used to love Steve Garvey and all those teams, Dusty Baker. So it's nice that these two teams are going at it. And the best words you can hear in sports is Game 7. So if Tampa Bay pulls it off tonight, it'll be a Game 7. Let's see how that goes. Anything else, April T?
That's all I have.
All right. Those are some hot takes. All right, Mike Burr, you got anything else?
Yeah, I got one more thing. I think right now we're witnessing one of the most underrated players in the league, Tyler Lockett.
Yeah, he's playing great football.
He's been one of the top receivers for the last few years, but he doesn't get any sort of attention. He's clutch. He's Russell Wilson's he's his go-to guy, really. Even with DK Metcalf and Greg Olsen and all these other guys, he's been when he's in trouble, when he's in a pinch, he'll just throw it up Tyler Lockett. He has great hands. He's a sure catcher, because there's some guys that he's a consistent catcher. If you get the ball near him, he's gonna come down with it. He's gonna make a play on it. Great at the sideline catches, great in the end zone. And I think he's one of the most underrated receivers in the game.
I do too. I think, like you say, he's one of the most not only underrated receivers, underrated players. And Russell Wilson throws one of the best over the top, high float balls, deep balls, and Tyler Lockett seems to always be up under one of those. At least one beautiful highlight type of catch per game. So yeah, I gotta agree with you, man. Tyler Lockett is a straight up baller, man.
Yeah,
that's a pretty good observation. So, man, that's our show, man. What a great show. April T, our super producer, hit us with some great hot takes. Mike Burr with a lot of information. If you like the podcast, please subscribe. Please share with a friend. Check us out on all social media. We call our subscribers winner. Shout out to my guy, Big Percy, a.k.a. Coach. We work together in TV. He's a wonderful guy. He told me the other day he liked the podcast. So we like to hear from our winners. But hit us up in the comments. Throw us on Facebook. Throw us in your gram, wherever you want to post us. And share with a friend. Let people know about the podcast. We're catching on. We're getting more and more popular. We like it when people like it. I talked to another one of my friends, Big Free. He liked the podcast. We had some great conversations. So let us know how you feel. Hit us in the comments. Subscribe, like. Check us out on all social media. And I also want to dedicate this podcast to my mom. My mommy is in heaven now. And my mom wasn't a real big sports fan. She was the type of mom that would come to the game, support, bring the snacks, bring the crackers, cheer at the game, and then at the end of the game would say something like, "Did you win?" That's just how my mom was. And if you say, "Yeah, Ma, we won," she say, "Oh, that's so great. You did great." And if you say, "No, Ma, we lost," she say, "Oh, that's so great. You did great." So my mom was just the type of person, as long as you were out there having fun, as long as you were out there participating, she was the type of person that supported you. She was the type of person that encouraged you because she just loved to see people doing what they love to do. And that's what this podcast is all about, the love of the game. So, Mom, this podcast is dedicated to you. This is Mike Burr's grandma, April T's grandma, and my mommy. So, that's it. Mike, got anything else?
That's it.
Can't end it on a better note than that. We will see you next time. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. Remember, subscribe, like, share. Let us know how you feel. And as we always do it, Mike Burr, drop the beat.